Hi there, my name is April Sawtell and welcome to my channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to just make a super fast scrappy quilt block. This quilt block is going to come together so quick. That means you're going to have a quilt in no time. All you're going to need for today's project is you're going to need an iron, a rotary cutter, and I've got my 12.5-inch square ruler, and I'm also going to have my big long 24-inch ruler. This is going to be just so I can square my blocks at the end and have a 12.5-inch block. I'm going to make this a really modern quilt. It's going to be very colorful. So I'm really kind of using the colors of the rainbow. They're going to be bright. It's going to be very colorful, but very plain. What I'm going to do today is just show you how to do it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting my blocks together. And I'll come back on another day and show you a full-blown tutorial how I pulled it all together. But for today, I need to make 56 quilt blocks with my scraps. So what I did was I went down to my scrap bins and I just started pulling. I went by the Roy G. Biv, the colors of the rainbow, and I'm just starting to pull the biggest scraps I have in those colors. So as you can see here, these are not going to be anything small. The ones I'm going to be working today, I've already pressed them. It doesn't matter how big they are because I can size them down as I go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I want my blocks 12.5 inches. So I'm going to want to make sure I'm a little bigger than that. So when I square up, I'm at my 12.5 inch. I want this really to be a quick quilt. So that's why I'm going so big. So all I'm going to do really is I'm just going to make sure I lay my fabric. I'm going to start with some of my big pieces here. I'll do greens. So each block is going to have its own color. So see, I'm going to do green, and I'm just going to put a piece of this green into it as well. So what I'm going to do like this, I'll take these two pieces of green and I'm going to lay them here. They're not 12.5 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'll just put the right sides together and I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'll sew this together. I'll do that now. So I know that I want this 12.5 inches wide. I can't get that out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them together this way, and then I'm going to cut this across, and that way I'm sure to get my 12.5 inches. So I'm just going to give this a seam right here on this side, on the right side. I'm going to do this at 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to go down, and I'm going to stop right at the edge here, and then I'm going to trim it up. And now when I open it, I've got my 12.5 inches that I'm going to need. And I'm going to square this up when I'm done anyway. I'll go back to the cutting table and I'm going to trim this piece off. I want to give this a nice straight edge here. Now I'm just going to take this edge off a little bit. I just want to have this a nice straight line. Okay. I've got this now more than 12.5 inches, which I'm going to need. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two long pieces and I'm going to put right sides together. And I'm going to go give that, I'm going to sew that down 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to figure out where I want to lay this. So I'm going to leave this one out for right now. I'm going to go back and sew these two together. All I'm going to do is go ahead and press the seam down here. I want this to lay nice and flat, but I'm not going to worry about turning it over and setting all the seams, not for this project. I'm just going to take my 12.5 inch ruler now, and I'm just going to give this a quick peek at where I want to put this strip. Remember, I just made this strip, and I just want to fit this in there somewhere. I think I want it up here on this green. So what I'm going to do is I just want to give myself some idea. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to, I want to know where I want to sew this. I'm going to cut this strip of green off right now. I'm just going to fold that in half. And I'm going to take some off so this piece fits there. I'm I'm not doing any measuring of this either. I'm just, I'm just going, it's very improv. I just don't have any pattern or anything. I'm just kind of winging it here. So I'll cut it right there. That looks good. And now when I open this, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and take this edge off right now too. I'm just going to take this piece now and I'm going to sew this to this piece. Right sides together and just 1/4 of an inch, same thing. Now I'm just going to go ahead and press this open. I love scraps. I love using up scrap fabric. And I'm really excited because I want to do some modern, I want to give everything a little bit of a modern touch with all the quilts that I've got coming up here for this fall. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And I do like to use my scraps up. So we'll see how many I can use up in the next few quilts. I think I'm going to actually make a few of these quilts. I just want to make the placement a little bit straight. So I'm going to look on here at my grid on my lines. That's all. I'm just going to follow my seam line. I want to make sure that when I do lay this down that I like the look. So for me, I'd rather have the extra scraps to save those and have them be bigger because I'm going to be making a bunch of these blocks for this quilt. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to bring it right over to the edge. That gives me bigger scraps to continue to work with. So then I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm just going to cut this. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my 12.5 inch ruler and I'm just going to trim this up. I love this. This is going to come together so quick. Now you just go ahead and you just trim this whole block up to 12.5 inches. You can do this in any size you want to. I'm just going to make a couple of demonstrations here, give you an idea of how to make this super, super quick quilt block. I did the same thing to this orange one. I just sewed all these pieces together. I'm just going to press this one down flat. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take my 12.5 inch ruler. I'm going to follow some lines on my seams here to just make sure I'm straight-ish. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And again, for this project, I'm just doing this so improv. I have no pattern. It doesn't matter where I cut this. I'm going to go for the biggest piece of scraps I can save here. I didn't pull out my rotating mat for this demonstration, but this would be a good time to have a rotary mat or a larger mat that you can spin around, but smaller than the mat that you're cutting on. And then just square this up and cut all the edges. So like I have this much left over from that piece I made, and from the green one, I had this much left over. So I'll be able to add that as I continue. Like that can just, I'm going to be putting color with color. So that can go on the next green one, and that can go on the next orange one, so on and so forth. For this quilt, I'm going to have it be 84 across and 96 long. So I'm going to need 7 across and 8 down. I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how this all turns out and how I sew it all together. But for now, I'm just showing you one quilt block and how easy this can be and how you can really use up your scraps. These are big scraps, so if you have, what I would do is go into your scrap bin and pull out your biggest ones. And remember, if you can't make them, if you don't have any that big, just sew a bunch of scraps in the same color field together, and then you're just going to add to that. So if you don't have big scraps, I don't have all big scraps in the colors I wanted either, so that's why I was like putting these two, sewing them together. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Remember to keep it simple. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Bye.